Radio Raheem here with Michael Buffer at Madison Square Garden. This is the start of fight week for Triple G. There are a few things in boxing today that are more exciting than the beginning of fight week for Triple G for me, because we know we're going to see a sensational show. You're everywhere. You don't miss a big fight. Talk to me about, the past weeks and bringing you to this moment in New York.
As you know, I just got back from London with Haye and Bellew, and 2 days ago it was at Turning Stone Casino. Stevens got knocked out by David Lemieux, a sensational one-punch knockout. The middleweights seem to be really, really hot right now. And coming up is Canelo and J.C. Chavez Jr. So, they're fighting a little over the middleweight limit, which is interesting for Canelo, but I guess that's another discussion. And they're calling this middleweight madness, and it's so appropriate because yesterday the NCAA tournament was announced with the brackets and all that, and what they go to in March Madness is the two best teams, and I think right here we have the two best middleweights.
Let me take you back to Turning Stone, because I was there as well. And we saw Max Kellerman jump in the ring, and it was like, this is the most vicious knockout I've ever seen, or something to that effect, which I disagree. I mean, I could name maybe three or four that I've seen. But, no one had a better seat than you. You saw these guys in their eyes right before they touched gloves. Was that the most vicious knockout you've seen, and how did it affect you when you saw Stevens go down?
As soon as he went down, you knew it was over, and so did Charlie Fitch, the referee, which was, you love to see a good referee work like that and instantly come in, make sure the tongue doesn't get swallowed, good medical attention, and wait for the doctor. I really love to see that in sports, really good officiating. But it was one of those knockouts where as soon as he hit the ground, you knew the fight was over. I mean, I was picking up the microphone, hitting the on switch, and looking for the timekeeper for time of knockout. So it was one of those moments. It's got to be maybe in the top 25 KOs I've seen. It was definitely a whackout. It was almost Julian Jackson-esque, and I heard Max say that it was that type of knockout. But
right,
Julian Jackson's a world of his own in a highlight film. Just go to YouTube, folks, and you'll see what I mean.
I always harken back to that Paul Williams knockout. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. But everyone's got their favorites. It's not like I don't like to see guys get hurt, but Jesus Christ, when they go down like that, it's awe-inspiring. We worried for the guy when the stretchers come out, because usually when I see the knockout or whatever, I'm excited. I get that thrill like everybody else. But then immediately you're like, all right, let me make sure this guy's okay. And when they bring out the real stretcher, I started to worry.
Yeah.
Did you see that? What'd you think?
Yeah, he didn't respond as quick as you usually do. In the movies, you'll see this scene where Errol Flynn knocks out the Nazi guard, and he goes in and blows up the ammunition depot. And for some reason, an average guy can punch someone on TV, and they're out for 15 minutes. In real life, real fighters, they punch a guy, and in 10, 15 seconds from the worst punch ever, they're up and okay, I'm cool. But this was one of those things. It was the movie knockout where the guy didn't wake up. And that's scary.
Now, usually you and I are at the same spot because we both have the luxury of covering the biggest fights. But every now and then, we have to split company. You got to go to London for Haye Bellew, and I was in Brooklyn for Garcia Thurman. And quite honestly, I was giving you a ribbon. I thought I was at the better fight. I had the better assignment, and I expected to see more action, 12 rounds if it went that long, of just unadulterated violence.
I had the more entertaining fight. I got to admit, it was entertaining. These two guys, the press conference, the weigh-in, they had to put in the big, beefy bodyguards and security guys in between them. It was that type of thing. And here with Golovkin and Jacobs, they're together this morning at the stock exchange, just these thoroughbreds, these gentlemen, these things. And when the bell rings Saturday night, they're going to do what they got to do.
I thought not only was it going to be the biggest fight, but that Bellew, I was one of the few people that thought Bellew was going to win it, but I didn't think David Haye was. Yeah, I did.
Hey, he's a buddy of mine, and I didn't think it was going to be his night. I mean, Haye can really punch. Even when he hurt his leg, he was still throwing those David Haymakers.
So you were surprised when you saw him go down?
I pleasantly surprised, because I really love the guy. He's a great guy, and I'm friends with David too. And it's like, both guys. You hate to see one win, you hate to see one lose in the same night. But I really thought that Tony was stepping up. As first fight as a heavyweight, that it could be problematic. But he fought a good fight.
Haye's not a young man. I mean, I just have to start looking at the locker room like maybe this is the last time for me to get in that ring.
Yeah, an Achilles injury is always a problem. I mean, that could take a year and a half to he's 35, so we have to wait and see what happens. But, keep our fingers crossed. He's a good guy.
Let's look forward a little bit. Last thing, JC and Canelo. I mean, you think Chavez has a shot here? Is this? As I'm excited about that fight. I think Canelo's taking on a challenge.
Every time I think about JC Jr., I remember what he did in the 12th round against Martinez. The guy can punch. The guy was losing every round and almost won that fight. And I think he's a big guy. If he's going to be in shape and come in at 165, he has his puncher's chance. And once he starts leaning on Canelo, like he did, I'm trying to think of the German guy that he fought at the Staples Center, just starts putting that weight on the guy and wearing him down with that big size. And he's going to weigh 185 pounds when he gets in the ring.
Right.
That could change the fight if it goes into the later rounds.
Man, always a pleasure, Michael. We're going to check in with you a couple times during fight week.
Absolutely,
you know that, even on or off camera. I've always got to talk to you.
Square Garden, HBO pay-per-view.
Triple G versus Danny Jacobs.
Wow.
Here we go. Radio Raheem with the voice of boxing, Michael Buffer.